Sure this mic is working. All right, there we go. Should be good. All right, we got season 3. I'm just get to it. As promised, my shout out my boy Panda Dares. He actually shouted me out after reacting to his first video. But shout out Panda Dares. He has Unsolved Mysteries, The Walking Dead: New Frontier, so I'm gonna react to that. As promised, season 3. Let's get started.
Previously on The Walking Dead, we continued onwards to Season 2 and covered another compilation of mysteries. More missing characters whom I believe were killed off camera, with the exception of Mike and the 400 Days cast. We covered Kenny's fate after the Wellington
Hold on. Gotta make sure. Alright, it's recording. Alright, let's go.
ending, and we debated Carlos's credibility and whether or not he was actually legit. Following the release of Volume 2, I have been hard at work playing through and researching its successor, which is of course the polarizing Season 3, A New Frontier.
Yeah.
The first game to introduce a new engine, cast of main characters.
I'm actually glad he did this because I don't think I don't think he was originally going to do the Season 3, but I think like the fans wanted him to do it. I wanted him to do it, you know, just for content and like you can't skip Season 3. So yeah, I'm glad he did this one.
New locations and new mysteries. I really enjoyed my most recent playthrough and I didn't have much trouble finding some questions that need to be answered. So once again, let's go back to when Outbreak started, a time when Clementine was still hiding up in her treehouse to find the first of these.
Yes sir! Yes sir!
Are you a Roblox
YouTube
fanatic?
Premium coming soon!
Microsoft Rewards has a brand new way for you to earn.
We are introduced to the Garcias in the prologue scene at the start of episode 1. Because of the outbreak, Javier's car gets caught in traffic on his way home to say goodbye to his not-so-deceased dad. This is important for later. When he enters the home, Mariana says that he is still awake, and when the family go to check on him, he bites both Mrs. Garcia and Hector in a desperate struggle. After putting him down, the final scene shows David taking his mother to the County General Hospital, and the rest of the family follow him from Kate's car. It's here where Hector notices a small bite mark on his arm. He covers it, and the screen immediately cuts to black. Now, these two deaths, especially Hector's, are never really mentioned again after the prologue. That's why it's so mysterious. Clearly they both died, but we know nothing in regards to how long they lasted, who put them out of their misery, and if they even made it to the hospital. Hector's fate is somehow way more disturbing and ambiguous. Assuming that he survived a little longer than his sister, he was...
Post-edit, David does confirm they didn't reach the hospital in episode 3. Miss Garcia turned not long after. I think I remember that, yeah, in our playthrough.
Hector's fate is somehow way more disturbing and ambiguous. Assuming that he survived a little longer than his sister, he was still there when Kate drove back to the house after losing contact with David, and he would have slowly turned over the course of a day or two. I think this bite is extremely similar to Lee's in Season 1, so that time frame is the most accurate comparison that we have, although to be fair, Lee was doing all sorts of crazy things in episode 5 that didn't exactly...
That is actually kind of crazy that Lee was doing all that while he was bit, bro. That was... Give Lee his flowers, bro, 100%.
Increases life
and I'm glazing, I don't care.
In episode 3, there's a flashback scene depicting the family's life at the house while waiting for David to come home. This was 3 months after the outbreak started, so chronologically, this is the closest point after Hector's death, and the aftermath is apparent if we look close enough. The family no longer sleep in separate rooms. Instead, they all sleep in the living room within eyesight of one another. According to a Telltale staff member, Hector was the key reason for why they do this. After coming home initially, he was still well enough to not raise any... All sleep in the living room within eyesight of one another. According to a Telltale staff member, Hector was...
Alyssa Finley, a staff member on Telltale, stated on the Telltale forums that his death was the key reason that when we saw the Garcia family 3 months later, they were all sleeping within eyesight of each other, barricaded into a single room. Okay, so I mean, that's coming from Telltale. They made the game, so...
The key reason for why they do this. After coming home initially, he was still well enough to not raise any concerns. He held up in his room as the infection intensified, and one night, while everyone was asleep, he turned and nearly cost the life of Mariana or Gabriel. Javi was the one to put him down, I say this because he had to do the same thing a few months prior with his dad. Kate, on the other hand, was too afraid to pass us the hammer and kill Gabe's friend in the same flashback, so it wasn't her, was it?
True.
You've got to be more careful.
This route plays out slightly different.
I'm gonna say no, because first off, the walker. I think it plays out differently for Ava and Trip, but I think the walker grabs them. But regardless, I think they still fall down. Like they still fall. Like I mean, it doesn't show it, but you assume it, bro. Like how deep the fall is. But I'll listen to him. Let's see what he says.
Depending on who you save in episode 4. If Trip stays with us until episode 5, he won't be able to make it across the helicopter and quickly gets overwhelmed by walkers. He then falls to his supposed death after running out of bullets.
That's what I'm saying. He hit his back on that, bro. Like he probably broke his back or hurt his spine really bad. Like, bro.
In the Ava path, she dies while shimmying across this narrow platform. She wasn't careful enough, and a walker climbs out of the car and knocks her off balance.
And that was fast.
Many people believe that their fate has been sealed, but others, including myself, will argue that at no point does a walker actually bite them. All we see is their fall, which ironically takes place above water, so it's not definitive enough.
Oh, okay. I mean, but from the Walking Dead Michonne, we know there's walkers in the water. We know they're still in the water though. But also Trip, bro, he hit his back on that pipe, bro. Like could he fall in the water? Can he swim? And he has walkers with him too. Like he took walkers down with him. Could he swim away from the walkers with a broken back possibly? Or a hurt back? You know what I'm saying? I'm assuming he has a broken back. We're assuming he hurt his back. We don't know. Maybe he is able to swim away, or maybe he is able to get away from the walkers. But okay.
Or telltale death.
But there's still walkers in the water, though.
After witnessing Kenny in the alleyway, to see him come back like he wasn't in the worst possible situation that you could ever be in, Ava and Trip are nothing in comparison. So let's talk more about these scenes and speculate what actually happened if they in fact did survive, and if there's a chance we ever get to see them again. It's hard to see at first, but in this shot we can see water beneath the platform where Ava fell. But the thing that's surprising to me is that there's no splash or thud that you'd expect to hear from a fall such as this.
Holy shit! Oh my god! Ava! Fuck! God damn it, no!
There's just silence, which is evidence to support that she didn't actually fall as far as you'd think. She may have even grabbed onto something on the way down. The counter-argument is that both David and Clementine are looking straight down as this occurs, but they were probably obscured by these metal bars and the road itself. Again, there's no camera angle, so it's very difficult to theorize what exactly happened. It pans toward David at a speed which...
That is true. You would have heard a splash, and that's what I'm saying. Like, the creators would have put that in. They would have put that splash in there. They would have missed that detail. Unless Panadares just totally called them out and, like, made a fool out of their creative team. I think maybe he's onto something. Which
makes it seem intentionally inconclusive. It's also possible that she got impaled on the way down or something, and they didn't want us to see it.
Yeah.
But I'll conclude that she's probably alive due to the lack of evidence. If she was intended to die right here, then the walker should have bitten her before she fell. I'll talk briefly about Trip 2, as his death scene is basically the same minus the exact location, and one small detail that decreases his chances of surviving the fall, which is a shame since Trip is one of my favourite characters in Season 3. Unlike Ava, Trip hit his neck on the way down. This could have severely injured him, making it impossible to swim to safety or escape the 3 walkers that fell alongside him. He also stopped screaming when this happened, emphasizing the damage, the impact. He could have died right here if the fall or the multiple walkers didn't kill him later. I hate to say this, but I don't think that Trip made it. Only Ava could have made it.
I was gonna say, yeah, Trip, because he still hit it. Yeah, he hit something. He hit something on a pipe, bro. Like, no. With weight, no. Coming down like that,
it's partially the fault of the devs for not properly clarifying it in the scene. I feel as if either both characters should have died on camera or both should have lived to the end. Choosing to save one of them, only for the other to die in the next episode regardless, seems very unsatisfying.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know, buddy. I can't find her.
This is interesting because I forgot her name. I'm blanking on her name right now. But the stepmom, that's what I'm saying. I forget her name, but she can go missing or she can stay with you depending on the choices you play. That's why it's kind of her character's kind of interesting to me.
I can't stop looking.
That's her name.
Kate, where are you?
Kate!
She like leaves you.
Kate, please! Kate, where the fuck are you?
So we've gone through the missing characters of season 1 and 2 in my previous videos, so I think it's only right that we make a part 3.
Yes,
These
sir.
vary from the antagonists who we can choose to keep alive, and after a certain point we never hear from them again, 2 members of the Garcia family who go missing after a difficult decision in the final episode. Let's go through these now and try and figure out what happened to them. The criteria for the Kate goes missing ending are quite difficult. To tell you the truth, I've yet to play through this ending for myself, but from what I've read, you need to have Clementine go with Kate in episode 5, and you also need to fight David and proceed to follow him with Gabe. This ensures that Kate doesn't turn into a walker, but instead they get separated after sealing the wall. Clementine doesn't think she made it, judging by her language, saying things like, "I think she's gone," and commenting on the number of
Also, I don't know if Panda Dare is gonna watch this. I think you also have to like kind of either like lead like throughout the story like lead her on and reject her and kind of like break her heart in a sense. That you should like kind of like I think that it kind of helps like create that divide to where she like because you have to make her like not want you and then she'll like leave you. I think that's how that kind of works. That plays into it too. Is like because she's gonna in episode 4 I think or episode 3 or episode 4 she's gonna ask you do you think we can be together or do you want to be together? I think if you tell her no, I think that like pre-decides that like she's gonna already kind of split off. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I did and I got that ending where she went missing. So
walkers as if she didn't have a fighting chance.
There were so many walkers. I barely made it through.
Kate!
which is bullshit. Clementine should have made that shit through.
I think she's gone. Just gone.
I think it's best to trust Clementine's logic here and conclude that she passed away or turned soon after splitting up with Clementine. There's just nothing else to use in her defense, besides the fact that we don't see it on camera, but that seems to be the case for most missing characters who have the...
But no, because that doesn't make sense because there's endings where it does show Kate as a walker. So this is what I'm saying. Like there's endings where it does show Kate as a walker, but there's also endings where she's just missing. Where I think she just took the fuck off. But there's endings you can get. I've seen it where she's like a walker and you see it. Like they would have showed you. Like no, like this ending specifically, she got away. Like it would have showed you.
They're dead in the past. Who knows though, we could be looking at another Kenny incident and she'll reappear in season 5 like nothing ever happened.
There's
during the public.
See, but there's endings where she stays with you, bro. I'm pretty sure there's endings where she stays with you or you see her as a walker. There's ending. I know it. It's been a while because I played that game 2 or 3 times. I'm pretty sure there's endings where she stayed with you.
Execution. Either one of the 2 leaders escapes Richmond based on your choice to take Clint's deal and leave. If you decide to shoot Joan rather than take the deal, then Clint will escape. And if you take the deal, David will shoot Clint and vice versa. It's an ongoing trope, but yeah, this is the last time we see them both.
Yeah.
So it's clear that they escaped Richmond somehow by the events of episode 5. A cool theory I've read is that they were able to convince a small faction of people to leave with them to start a rebellion against the people of Richmond later on. It's a long shot, but at the end of season 4,
that could be the war. That could be because remember when she's having flashbacks to AJ, I think it shows her when she gets AJ. I think it shows her like there was war going on when she went to go get AJ. This makes sense. Okay, this kind of makes sense.
Flashback scene where she rescues AJ, and when she's about to drive off, she says this.
Can't go back to Richmond.
Yep.
This whole area is a war zone.
Yeah.
This could have been the rebellion started by Joan or Clint to take back control of the city. This was also before the events of the Delta in season 4, so that war is unrelated to this one as far as I can tell. She could also be referencing the Walker Horde, so it's up in the air, honestly. But who else would want to start a war with Richmond other than its former leaders who want Javi dead?
And they never, and that's what I'm saying, they never got into that too, like, so they just kind of let that alone. So you knew there was a war going on, or you knew a war happened, but they never got into who started the war. You just knew Javi was at war. But it didn't say with who or what, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of irritating, but kind of a cool cliffhanger.
Lastly, we have Lonnie and Max. Lonnie is the guy who you knock out in season 1. We also have the choice to kill his friend after Clementine destroys his truck with a tree. He kind of just stands around a lot in various scenes doing nothing, but it's at a crucial point in episode 3 where both Max and Lonnie's lives are decided. Basically, if you kill Max and confront Joan about their raids, Lonnie will lie and accuse us of murdering them without reason. It's here where David lashes out and shoots him in the head.
Oh.
If you save Max under the premise that he exposes Joan, he fulfills his promise. No one dies in this scenario, but they both go missing afterwards. It's confirmed in the wiki that Max and Lonnie, the only two survivors of the Raider group, were exiled off-screen by the committee. Apparently during episodes 4 and 5 they were kept in a holding cell awaiting their departure after the herd cleared. My theory is that they regrouped with Joan or Clint after they left Richmond, and they were members of the rebellion, as mentioned by Clementine in season 4.
Could have been.
I remember this team. Your dad ever teach you about baseball?
No, not really.
Well, you come back, and I'll tell you all about it.
Following the story onwards to the final season, there's no mention of Javier or any of the season 3 cast besides the war with.
I was gonna say, besides the war, yeah, like, you don't go back to Richmond, you don't, like, reach out, nobody, like, you don't even, like, you like, Gabe, like, you don't reach out, you don't see them at all, you don't go back there. There is no mention besides the war. That is, I thought that was always kind of odd, because it's like it's Richmond, you know what I'm saying, like, it seems like a good-ass base, so, yeah, I don't know. He's right.
The Delta. It's believed that Telltale tried to separate themselves from it as much as they could.
Right.
I know that I didn't like season 3 much when it came out. Generally, it was poorly received. Because of this, season 4 was marketed towards fans of the earlier seasons. As a result, Javier and his family have been abandoned, and it's extremely unlikely that we'll ever see them again. But imagine if he and Kenny teamed up in season 5. That would be amazing. At this point, I'm kind of done with Clementine, to be honest. I think that her side of the story has the perfect ending, so if they ever do decide to revisit the series, I'd much rather see Kenny and Javi tie up their loose ends. In the season...
I mean, I don't know, yeah, I guess they have kind of stretched Clementine. I'm down for it if they want to do another Clementine just because she's like OG, but if they maybe wanted to carry it on with AJ, you know what I'm saying, now that it's his time, I wouldn't mind that either. Or yeah, if they could like play as, that'd be cool. Play as Kenny. I would not mind playing as Kenny. So
3 finale, it's evident that Javier was supposed to return in season 4 to some extent. It's hinted at in this dialogue when he offers to teach Clementine baseball upon her return. They even shake hands on it. After that, we have a choice. We can recommend that Clementine stay away from Richmond, or we can recommend that she brings AJ back so he can grow up in a safe environment. But in typical Telltale fashion, this choice does absolutely nothing. I want to make this one a short what-if scenario, similar to the Ben one in my first video. What if Javi ditched Richmond and resorted back to the road with Kate and Gabe? It's how they were able to survive for so long. And at a certain point, you have to question if risking your life fighting a senseless war for the people who were once celebrating your brother's execution in episode 4 was all worth it. To hell with these people. And Javier was never their leader to begin with. He only said that he should step up at the end, but we're never given confirmation on his leadership status after this point. It's unclear.
I guess that is true. We like it. They make it seem like he's gonna step up, and they make it seem like he's gonna be a leader, but we don't know if he actually does, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like we have the choice to make him, but like, yeah, Clementine never mentions that either. She never says, oh yeah, Javi took Richmond over. She just says, we just know Richmond's at war. They never said, oh, Javi's the leader of Richmond. You know what I'm saying? Good point. He's making good points.
If Javier or Kate had a destination in mind while on the road, using Google Maps as a reference point, they started in Baltimore, Maryland, and after the 4-year time skip, they ended up 150 miles south near Richmond, Virginia. This was also close to the location of Season 2's final episode, which is cool. They didn't travel very much in those 4 years, opting to exhaust the neighbouring communities of and around Baltimore for supplies while slowly moving south. At least that's my theory. Maybe like Kenny, the family was planning to move to Mexico, and since they're travelling along the east coast, they could have encountered Kenny along the way if things had played out differently. And if the war in Richmond does cause its eventual collapse, it sets up a Season 5 quite well.
I gotta admit, man, you're a fucking badass.
Jesus and Javier, yeah.
You know that, through and through.
Are you really sure you don't want to stay? There's room.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Finally, a real mystery for once. And hear me out because the evidence and support for this theory is overwhelming. Look, the whole Kate thing is so forced to the point where I dislike her as a character. The chemistry is off. Even if you do romance her, it's hard to explain. You just need to play it and pay close attention. I feel bad for Javier that Kate's constantly trying to cheat on his own brother for him. Because of this, I reject her every time I play, and the satisfaction is immeasurable. But that's just one romance option. What does that have to do with Javier's sexuality? Watch this scene with Jesus and Javier to understand what a real spark looks like. Jesus also says that, quote, "I read people pretty well, a little gift of mine." This is his way of saying, I know a fellow gay guy when I see one. For anyone doubting if Jesus is actually gay himself and isn't just having a laugh, well, he is. I don't like to bring up the TV show, but he says that in the show, fans have also unanimously agreed that he's gay in the comics, the Telltale game version being a very accurate tie-in and not a reimagining. Lastly, Javier has been confirmed as bisexual by a member of the writing staff. This explains basically everything we need to know about why the kid romance is even a thing. Why is there this scene with Eleanor in episode 1?
Why is it always the pretty ones who end up causing the most trouble? As if good looks equal bad behavior or something.
But after she betrays us and nearly kills David, we have the option to cut ties with her in the most blunt way possible.
That's worth forgiving, right? She's trying. That counts.
She can go to hell. I want nothing to do with her.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
So yes, I believe that Javier had a crush on Jesus, and that they could have even pursued a relationship together after the story of Season 3 ended. That concludes Volume 3 of the mystery catalogue for The Walking Dead. I honestly thought that I'd only have like 2 mysteries for this video, but I was able to scrape something together. So thanks again, and if you have any suggestions or thoughts on Season 4, please let me know by email or comment.
Someone's kind of out there, kind of took me by surprise. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like some mysteries, some like more mysteries from Season 3 I'm trying to think of. I don't know, because we know what happened. Yeah, I don't know. I guess, yeah, because I'm trying to think. Like, did they tie everything? I got to go back and actually like analyze it all. Because it was kind of, yeah. Yeah, I guess it was. I guess it is kind of harder to draw. Besides, like, missing characters and stuff, it is kind of harder to draw, like, theories. And you'd have to, like, rely on stuff. It was a harder season, too. Yeah, but overall, he made some good points, some things I never thought of. Yeah, I liked it. But Season 4 is coming soon, and that's what I'm looking for next. So, yeah, besides that, that'll do it. Peace.